County Radio's news source. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and BeaverCountyRadio.com. Here's Noah Haswell.
Good morning on this Wednesday, March 19th of 2025. We will have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. A ruling from a judge on Tuesday gave 22-year-old Joshua Rebe release from being supervised by police in the Dominican Republic. Rebe was the last person to allegedly see missing University of Pittsburgh student Sudiksha Konanki in Punta Cana. Rebe has been a person of interest in the case and is neither a suspect nor charged with anything. Konanki has been missing since March 6th, and her parents want her to be announced deceased. The Keystone Shooting Center in Cranberry had a lot of guns stolen from the property on Monday. According to a spokesperson, an alarm was heard early that morning and police discovered the windows were smashed. The number of guns taken was unknown at this time. The investigation is being done by the ATF, and no suspects for the robbery in Cranberry have been announced at this time. According to a release from State Representative Rob Mattie's office, the Pennsylvania House of Representatives adopted a resolution from Mattie to raise awareness about multiple sclerosis. House Resolution 31 made the week of March 9th through the 15th of 2025 to recognize Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Week in the state of Pennsylvania. Mattie confirmed that multiple sclerosis affects nerve signal transmission. Almost 1 million Americans are affected by multiple sclerosis. Shell Polymers Monaca will be performing an emergency response drill today at around 12 noon. The facility near the Ohio River will undergo more activity than usual. The company is planning to keep the community safe and see if the preparation for the drill will be maintained during this process. If you have any information or have any questions, you can always call 844-776-5581. PennDOT District 11 announced that on the night of Wednesday, March 19th, weather permitting, westbound I-376 in Pittsburgh will undergo an overnight lane closure. From 9 p.m. to 5 a.m., a single-lane restriction will be on the interchange of exit 77 between Edgewood and Swissvale and the Squirrel Hill Tunnel. The inbound I-376 will also have traffic stoppages of 15 minutes or less. Tie-in work will be conducted by crews. A contract of $7.1 million was given to build a clinic in a different location for an outpatient facility of VA Pittsburgh Healthcare System in Beaver County. The building will be on the property of the Beaver Valley Mall. According to the VA Pittsburgh Healthcare System, services include acupuncture, treatments for both hematology and oncology, chemotherapy, and physical therapy. According to officials, 2027 will be the expected opening time of the building. Voters in a western Pennsylvania state house district will be filling a vacancy next week and deciding which party will hold the speakership. The district at stake in a special election on Tuesday includes towns along the Mon Valley Steel region southeast of Pittsburgh. The race pits McKeesport police officer Dan Galnar, the Democrat, against longtime volunteer firefighter and current White Oak Borough Council President Chuck Davis, the Republican. Since Democratic State Representative Matt Gergely died in January, the House has been deadlocked at 101 to 101. Democrats hope to keep the seat and maintain Democratic Speaker Joanna McClinton as the chamber's presiding officer. A federal judge has blocked enforcement of President Donald Trump's executive order banning transgender people from serving in the U.S. military. Judge Anna Reyes in Washington, D.C. ruled Tuesday that Trump's order to exclude transgender troops from military service likely violates their constitutional rights. The judge issued a preliminary injunction requested by attorneys for 6 transgender people who are active duty service members and 2 others seeking to join the military. She delayed her order until Friday to give the administration time to appeal.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Partly sunny and breezy today. We'll see a high near 76. Increasing clouds tonight will drop down to a low around 52. Breezy tomorrow with rain likely off and on throughout the day, along with the chance of a wintry mix in the evening. We'll reach a high near 58 and a low around 29. And sunshine on Friday. We'll see a high near 51 and a low around 40. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
On this Wednesday, March 19th of 2025 at 9 minutes after 9, we've got a temperature of 55 degrees currently in Beaver County. That's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Are you ready? It's time to find out what is on the mind of Eddie Crow. It's something to crow about on Beaver County Radio, 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP. Now, here's the host of the show, Eddie Crow.
Easing into it this morning. I don't know if I'm happy or sad about this. Dale Reckless is here. I'm always happy when Dale comes by. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Eddie.
I took some days off. Then the last time you were here, it's my understanding that you were touching a coworker's barefoot, and I'm just going to get this out of the way. I'm glad we missed each other.
You missed out last month, and you know when I put my radio show ideas together,
Yeah.
I do have you in mind. So I was really
So my paranoia is correct.
I was really anticipating this show, and then when I came in and you weren't here, I'm like, took the wind out of me a little bit. But Gary did a great job.
Yeah.
Mike said, Mike deferred, and
Okay.
he brought in his extra assistant to help out. But Gary was a good sport and helped out. But yeah, last month we talked about peripheral neuropathy, and we have some special tests that we do at MRS Physical Therapy to test for peripheral neuropathy because it can really affect your balance and your walking. That was what we talked about last month for the show. But we missed you last month, so I hope you had a good vacation.
I missed seeing you. I'll put it like that. For those of you that don't know, most of the time, more than half the time anyway, when Dale Reckless of MRS Physical Therapy shows up, I call them stupid human tricks, and I say that with love, but I get put through the ringer with these tests and that test and the other test, and it's like medical professional. Hey, well, I got you here. I need a free consultation. I've got a friend of mine that is doing and was showing me the exercises she's doing. And I'm like, Dale taught me that, Dale taught me that, Dale. But I've got a video to show you, and I'll show you off air. Is this some influencers doing it? Okay?
Yeah.
I'll show you, and you can tell me, are they doing it right? Because
I absolutely will.
I trust a professional. What are we professionally doing today?
Yeah, I love giving on that note, I love giving my recommendations to people. And it happens quite often where I'll have friends or neighbors say, I'm doing this. I learned it this way. Is this right? And
Saw it
a lot of
online.
times it's not, because what you learn on TikTok and YouTube is not always factual, as we all know. And we shouldn't be using that for our healthcare indeed. So, but I'd be happy to take a look at that. And for anyone listening or watching that ever needs advice, I love to give out free advice, whether it's through an email or through a text message or a phone call. I'm happy to help out.
Have you ever got sent something and you instantly typed back, don't do this?
Yeah, absolutely. People are taught things wrong all the time. Yeah. And we've been doing this a long time. I mean, I've been a physical therapist for 35 years. So
why would you not trust a professional over somebody that's got a yoga set up in their basement?
Usually it comes down to cost and convenience. So people don't want to pay the money, or they don't want to leave their house. But it doesn't make any sense to do that if you're going to end up doing it wrong and hurting yourself in the meantime, right?
Yeah, no, you're gonna make it worse. Like trying to fix your car yourself and ending up having to take it to a professional. You are a professional.
Right, yeah.
Where are your offices? Let people know before we get into today.
Yeah, so we have two offices. The first one is right in the heart of Bridgewater. That's MRS Physical Therapy. And that is on 500 Market Street. Again, right in the heart of Bridgewater, inside of Stone Point Landing, which is the old Keystone Bread Building for those that have been around in Beaver County long enough.
Okay.
And that telephone number, if you want to get a hold of us, and the Bridgewater office is 724 728-7550. And then we have another office. It is no longer a new office. We've been around for almost 10 years, and that is Cranberry Physical Therapy, and that is part of MRS, and that is on Route 19 in Cranberry Township. And that is right next to North Park Lounge. Most people know that restaurant.
Yes.
That is kind of like your Beacon Lighthouse in Cranberry. You can find us by going right next to North Park Lounge. And that number at Cranberry Physical Therapy is 724-591-8121.
What are we talking about today that does not involve you touching my feet?
So when Eddie greets me every morning when I come in for the show, and he's I'm not sure he's greeting me or he's eyeing up what I take out of my car. I think what he's really looking for. So there's an extra smile on Eddie's face when he sees me walking out without any toys or tricks, because he knows I don't have anything to test him out with today. So is that true, Eddie?
When I see you get out of the truck and start walking towards the building, yay! When I see you get out of the truck and go to the back end of the truck, that means you're hauling something out.
When the lift gate opens up, you're like, uh-oh.
It's going to be a massage table. I'm going to be up there telling him about my life. It's going to get weird. Honestly, I greet you every day. It's like, he's not getting anything out of his truck.
Yeah, so we don't have any. We're not putting Eddie through anything this month. I used my tips and tricks last month on Gary. So this is going to be just a regular, good old talk show radio today without any demonstration of models. But we're going to do a little boasting today, because I think it's important just to kind of every once in a while sit back and say, how are we doing? And we just had a great, fantastic award that we were rewarded at MRS Physical Therapy. So the Cranberry Eagle just voted us best MRS Physical Therapy, the best physical therapist in town. So we won the gold. MRS Physical Therapy won the gold for the best physical therapy in town.
An endorsement from a media outlet, man.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yep. So completely organic. Actually, I don't even vote in those things. So it's a completely, people are like, well, do you stuff the ballot box? I'm like, no, actually, I didn't even vote. None of us voted in the company. So completely organic, voting from the community. That MRS Physical Therapy was just voted the best physical therapy in town. So we got the gold, and we are very proud of that. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about what I think makes us stand above and beyond other therapy clinics, because there's a ton of competition. Let's be honest. There's a lot of places you could go to and you could choose to go to. It might be a little closer for you, a little more convenient. But we're going to talk about today why I think MRS Physical Therapy is ranked gold, why we hold the gold standard for all of our patients, and what makes us a little bit different than some other clinics that might be a little closer, more convenient to you.
Did they tell you won, or did they tell you won and here's why you won? Did you get the information that went into the voting?
No, they just tell us we won.
Okay.
So this is my opinion on why I think we won, because we do regular marketing surveys at MRS Physical Therapy. So what that does is when someone's discharged from their care, we hand them a piece of paper survey. It's optional if they fill that out or not. But if they take the time to fill it out, they send it back to us, and it's completely anonymous. And a lot of times it includes comments. So I'm going to read some of those comments today that helps us to identify why I think, because these are coming straight from our patients, why we stand above and beyond a lot of other physical therapy clinics. But generally speaking, I think we stand above and beyond because we do a lot of community service. We're out in the community quite a bit. Anytime there's a health fair that comes up, I'm there volunteering, whether that's at the center of the mall here in Beaver County when they do their health fairs every couple times a year, or we do a couple out in the Cranberry area where some politicians will put on a health fair, and we participate in that. And that's, it could be a full day. Sometimes we're out there for a couple hours. Sometimes it's a full day. And we're providing free health screens, free balance screens, and things like that. That's something that we also provide to our community as far as our community service. We offer free fall risk screens in our clinic, which we're going to talk a little bit more in depth in a minute on that. But that's something else we do. We also keep on top of the latest medical research regarding physical therapy. What's the most recent techniques? What is science proving and showing is the most helpful to you to recover the quickest with your physical therapy? So all of my therapists are required to keep up on research and doing regular studies to make sure that their physical therapy techniques are the best in the cutting line. I've been a physical therapist for 35 years. If I still practice the way I did 35 years ago,
right,
you wouldn't want that, right? You don't want...
I want some updates, yeah.
You don't want what was happening in 1989 and 1990. You want to know what's going on in 2024, 2025. So we do regular research and keep updated on our skills, and it's constantly changing, to be honest. What we do now is very different than what we did 30, 35 years ago. So all of my therapists keep up to date on their current research. So community outreach, keeping update on your on our research. We're very communicative and attentive to patient care, and we also offer next day appointments, which is important for a patient.
Right.
So if you were doing something this weekend, which a lot of us did some stuff this past weekend, including myself. I got into my garden this past weekend, and I was so happy to start working on my garden. I got my peas planted. I put some carrots in. But a lot of us, when we start getting into our gardening and things like that, when the weather starts clearing up, we're maybe not quite ready for it with our flexibility and our strength and things like that. So we might notice, even falling, you can learn that your balance might be a little more off than you realize when you're working in your garden. You might have a fall, which happened to someone that I know recently. So you might notice some increased pain and strain and things like that after you're doing some of your spring cleaning, getting into your garden. So we offer next day appointments because we don't want you to wait and have things linger. We want to take care of them as soon as possible.
Be miserable for 3 days and we'll get back to you does not work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know some people, they said they call clinics and they were put on a 1-2 week waiting list, which, that's nothing I want to, I wouldn't want my family to have to wait for, 2 to 3 weeks to get it to see a specialist, especially a physical therapist that can work on you right away. So we offer next day appointments in both of our clinics. And that's something that I think stands above and beyond some other clinics as far as that goes.
Because MRS Physical Therapy is a household name because of the reasons you said, does that put more pressure on you?
No, I wouldn't say it puts pressure on us at all. We live up to the gold standard, and I think we thrive with that. To be honest, we want to be on top of our game with everything. We want our patients to get better as quick as possible. And as I read some of these testimonials, we see some people say they were fixed in 1 or 2 visits. That's the best, right? If you can get to a physical therapist and be fixed in 1 or 2 visits, that's the best outcome you could ask for.
You've talked about this once or twice with vertigo. You've had people that have had vertigo for 20, 30 years.
Yeah, or
and
longer.
2 visits, it's gone.
Yeah.
Utterly life-changing.
Indeed.
By
Anyone that's
you.
suffered from vertigo, and I'll have a couple testimonials I read regarding vertigo, but anyone that's had it, what it is, let me explain it quickly first. If you're not familiar with it, vertigo is with position changes, rolling in bed or getting up out of a bed, you feel sudden spinning sensation.
Bed spins.
Bed spins it can feel pretty violent, actually. And if you get up too quick, you could actually fall because your balance is so discombobulated when you're having vertigo, you can end up falling and hurting yourself even more. And as we know, fall risk is a huge thing. So whether it's coming from vertigo or other issues, it can really lead to debilitation or even death if you hit yourself the wrong way. So it is a pretty serious diagnosis we treat. And many times we can fix this in 1 or 2 visits, which is a really fantastic outcome that we're very proud of that we offer at MRS Physical Therapy.
Read one of the testimonials because these come in after the patient's been discharged and anonymous. So
it's anonymous. They can write whatever they want.
If they want to flame throw you, they will.
They can flame throw us.
Right.
So this is the first one I wrote down. You taught me exercises, then fine-tuned my performance of them. Kind, friendly staff answered all of my questions with expertise. So a couple of key points, because I read all these testimonials and I take from them, okay, what are we doing good or what do we need to improve on? So the first key point is we fine-tuned what they were doing. So we didn't just evaluate them, give them an exercise program and say, hey, do this, go do it. Do it on your own, do it in the clinic. We're not going to pay attention to you after that. That's feedback I get from patients when they come back and say, your clinic's different. I went to this other place and they just handed me this exercise and I sat in a room and I never saw the therapist again. Well, we start them out on exercise, but then we fine tune their performance of it. So that means we're watching them. We're watching what we initially have given them for their exercises, but then we work with them to make sure they're doing them properly. Then we fine tune and we progress them as well. So what we initially start them with, we continually progress them. We fine tune their performance with our expertise. And I love reading this part. kind and friendly staff. That's your experience when you go anywhere is important. Whether you're going to a car dealership or a doctor's office, you should have a good experience there. You should feel good when you walk in. You should feel good when you leave. And part of that is physical, but part of that is how you feel about the atmosphere. And we have a very kind, friendly staff. We're going to take care of you. So I had a patient call me to schedule a new evaluation actually recently. And she told me on the phone when I was talking to her, she goes, I'm really anxious and nervous about this. Is this going to hurt? Are you going to push me too hard? Are you going to make me do something I don't want to do? And that's part of our kind, friendly staff that we have, is that we're walking along this course of recovery, this path along with you. We're not going to throw you in a corner to make you expect to do things that you don't know how to do. And we're going to slowly walk alongside of you as you're going through your recovery. So we're not putting you into any additional pain or discomfort. We're going to make sure that you are comfortable in what you're doing and that you feel very comfortable in the atmosphere that you're in. So you're going to have a great outcome because of that as well.
Who is a more typical compliant patient, an elderly person or a young person?
Well, usually the most compliant patient is the one that has a specific goal in mind. And that's why we like to talk to our patients about what their goals are. Because, this happens a lot where you go into wherever it is and they assume what your goals are. They think that they know what you want to get out of this experience. Well, we want to make sure that we are aware what our patients' goals are, because some of our patients' goals are very simple. So we don't make assumptions on where we think our patients can get to. We want to talk to them. I had a patient yesterday I was talking to, and she's got low back pain, and her goal is to work herself up to 10,000 steps a day, which some of us get on a regular basis. It's not a big deal. But if you're suffering from low back pain, getting 10,000 steps a day can be really a challenge. It could be that, that mountain that you're trying to reach towards. And right now she's just trying to get to like 2,000 to 3,000 steps a day. For some of us, we get that in our workday, no problem. But if you're suffering from low back pain, getting to 2,000 to 3,000 steps a day can be really hard to get to. So we communicated and talked with her. Okay, this is our plan. We're going to start here, and we're going to start to get you to 2,000 to 3,000 steps a day. Our final goal is going to be that 10,000 steps a day. But so answering your question, the most compliant patients are the ones that have those specific goals. But we help you when you come to your physical therapy session. We help to find what those specific goals are so that you will be most compliant with your exercises and you understand what you need to do to get to that goal, whatever it is you want to achieve. Whether it's running a 10K race, just walking 10,000 steps. For some people, it's just simply getting up out of the chair and walking around the house.
Getting out of the chair without pushing up off the chair.
Yeah, everyone has different goals. So our patients' experience with us is that we're going to communicate and talk with them about what their goals are, whatever level that's going to be.
Dale Reckless, MRS Physical Therapy. I got more questions and more testimonials. News next, though.
The 45th Annual Beaver County Maple Syrup and Music Festival is back and better than ever. It's all happening on Saturday and Sunday, April the 12th and 13th at the Lodge in Brady's Run Park, just off Route 51 in Brayton Township. While the star of the show is scrumptious Pennsylvania maple syrup drizzled over all-you-can-eat homemade pancakes, there will also be live music with numerous crafters and vendors. Tickets, including pancakes and sausage, are just $15 for adults, $10 for kids under 12, and seniors and military, along with first responders, are just $12. There will also be Pennsylvania pure 100% maple syrup for sale, along with buckwheat and cornmeal flour. The 45th Annual Beaver County Maple Syrup Festival is being presented by Push Beaver County. Make sure you plan to come out to the 45th Annual Maple Syrup Festival from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, April the 12th and 13th at the Lodge in Brady's Run Park. Check out the festival Facebook page for a schedule of events.
If you own a company or a small business, you might have considered advertising on radio. It's smart because radio is still the most far-reaching media outlet today. WBVP and WMBA can get you results. Get more information at beavercountyradio.com.
Looking for an elevated dining experience with a lively bar atmosphere? Then Jackson's Restaurant and Bar in Monaca is your destination. Join Jackson's for Thursday Night Live, featuring top-notch local music. At Jackson's, they serve modern American cuisine with a fresh flair, perfect for lunch, dinner, and now Sunday brunch from 10 to 2. Reserve your table for Easter Sunday brunch, featuring special Easter offerings like plated ham and a build-your-own Bloody Mary bar. Located near the Beaver Valley Mall, adjacent to the Hilton Garden Inn, Jackson's event space is a great venue for weddings, bridal showers, birthdays, or anniversaries. Visit jacksonsbeavervalley.com for details.
In a recent live broadcast, Dale Reckless from MRS Physical Therapy stated that if you are over 65 years old, the CDC recommends getting an annual fall risk screening.
Your vestibular system is similar where it starts to slow down at the age of 40 to 50 years old. Your balance systems start to change at the age of 40 to 50 years old, and they keep getting worse. So it's not just something you do once, but you should do it annually because your body continues to change year to year as you get older.
If you need physical therapy for any reason, choose the place that your friends and neighbors do. MRS Physical Therapy, located in Stone Point Landing in Bridgewater, or Cranberry Physical Therapy on Route 19 in Cranberry. For more information, call Dale Reckless today at 724-728-7550 or visit mrsphysicaltherapy.com.
Put freedom in your future. Freedom United Federal Credit Union in Rochester. Beaver County Radio's news source. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and BeaverCountyRadio.com. Here's Noah Haswell.
Good morning on this Wednesday, March 19th of 2025. We will have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. A ruling from a judge on Tuesday gave 22-year-old Joshua Uribe release from being supervised by police in the Dominican Republic. Uribe was the last person to allegedly see missing University of Pittsburgh student Sudiksha Konanki in Punta Cana. Uribe has been a person of interest in the case and is neither a suspect nor charged with anything. Konanki has been missing since March 6th, and her parents want her to be announced deceased. The Keystone Shooting Center in Cranberry had a lot of guns stolen from the property on Monday. According to a spokesman, an alarm was heard early that morning and police discovered the windows were smashed. The number of guns taken was unknown at this time. The investigation is being done by the ATF, and no suspects for the robbery in Cranberry have been announced at this time. According to a release from State Representative Rob Matzie's office, the Pennsylvania House of Representatives adopted a resolution from Matzie to raise awareness about multiple sclerosis. House Resolution 31 made the week of March 9th through the 15th of 2025 to recognize Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Week in the state of Pennsylvania. Matzie confirmed that multiple sclerosis affects nerve signal transmission. Almost 1 million Americans are affected by multiple sclerosis. PennDOT District 11 announced that on Wednesday, March 19th, weather permitting, a single-lane restriction will occur on the Beaver Valley Expressway on eastbound I-376. On weekdays from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. through early April, a single-lane restriction will be before the Exit 45 Aliquippa interchange on the bridge eastbound over Green Garden Road. Bridge repair work will be conducted by crews from Allison Park Contractors. Shell Polymers Monaca will be performing an emergency response drill today at around 12 noon. The facility near the Ohio River will undergo more activity than usual. The company is planning to keep the community safe and see if the preparation for the drill will be maintained during this process. If you have any information or have any questions, you can always call 844-776-5581. Idlewild and Soak Zone, along with Kennywood and Sandcastle, have announced opening dates for their 2025 seasons. Idlewild kicks off its season on May 17th, while both Soak Zone and Sandcastle will both start operations on May 24th. Kennywood will begin its season on April 12th. The parks will also be under new ownership as Hershend will receive the sale of the parks from Parques Reunidos. The sale and its terms have not been finalized at this time. Voters in a western Pennsylvania state house district will be filling a vacancy next week and deciding which party will hold the speakership. The district at stake in a special election on Tuesday includes towns along the Mon Valley Steel region southeast of Pittsburgh. The race pits McKeesport police officer Dan Galnar, the Democrat, against longtime volunteer firefighter and current White Oak Borough Council President Chuck Davis, the Republican. Since Democratic State Representative Matt Gergely died in January, the House has been deadlocked at 101 to 101. Democrats hope to keep the seat and maintain Democratic Speaker Joanna McClinton as the chamber's presiding officer.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
A little on the breezy side, but otherwise a fantastic day in store for us with partly sunny skies and a high near 76. Increasing clouds tonight will drop down to a low around 52. Breezy tomorrow with rain likely off and on throughout the day, along with the chance of a wintry mix in the evening. We'll reach a high near 58 and a low around 29. And sunshine on Friday, we'll see a high near 51 and a low around 40. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
That's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Are you ready? It's time to find out what is on the mind of Eddie Crow. It's something to crow about on Beaver County Radio, 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP. Now, here's the host of the show, Eddie Crow.
I am sitting in a studio with a major award winner. Dale Reckless is here. Dale Reckless of MRS Physical Therapy comes by once a month. It's always great to see you. Tell people that didn't hear you before, this is a big deal. This, to me, means the community understands the value of MRS Physical Therapy in a lot of ways. What's the award?
Yeah, so the Cranberry Eagle just awarded MRS Physical Therapy with the #1 physical therapy in the community. So we received the gold, which is the highest standard of award. And there's a lot of a competition for physical therapists. I know a lot of it listening, may go to other clinics. But MRS Physical Therapy was just awarded the top physical therapy clinic in the community, so we're very proud of that, and that's kind of what we're talking about today, kind of what makes a physical therapy clinic like ours stand above and beyond, how your experience will be different coming to MRS Physical Therapy, how it'll be a better experience for you, and kind of different things that we do at MRS Physical Therapy that make us stand above and beyond other physical therapy clinics.
Why do, and I don't know if it's just not physical therapy, but why do businesses not get that, what you get? The first testimonial that you read talked about friendly environment, helpful, and all good things that any business can do, but not many do.
Yeah, I think some businesses lose sight of what the value is to customer service, to be honest.
Okay.
Customer service should be top of the list when you're building a company, no matter what area of business that you're in, because that customer experience is important for a patient to find you, to come to you, and most importantly, for them to come back to you. And that's one of the testimonials that I have here. I'll read it right here. Says, "This is the third time I've needed MRS, each time for different complaints. Excellent results." So these patients aren't just getting referred to us once, but they keep coming back, and they come back to us because they get excellent results, but their overall experience is fantastic at MRS Physical Therapy. So that patient experience is really probably the most important thing in a business, and that's something that we pride ourselves in both of our offices in Bridgewater and Cranberry.
Is that something that you see and you go, okay, we're doing it right? Repeat business.
Yep. Repeat business gives you an indication that you're doing it right. Mm-hmm. Patients coming back to you. Patients are coming and they're completing their plan that you've created with them. They're not coming for one visit and then not coming back for something that they should be coming back for multiple visits for. They come back, they finish their plan, and then they come back again and again and again. So that's a great indicator for any business that you're on top of your game and you're doing the right stuff to give the patient the best that you can give them. They're getting the best outcome and they're getting the best experience for a physical therapist.
When you have a new patient come in, first off, you can see them the next day, so that's a good thing. Are they more typically coming in because they just did something, or something's getting worse, or they don't know what's going on? I mean, how aware are patients when they come in the first visit of what's wrong with them?
It's really all of the above.
Is it? Okay.
So, some patients are coming to us, like I said earlier in the show, we offer next day appointments. So,
right.
Someone had an injury, they hurt themselves doing a sport, an activity, they're doing spring cleaning, they come back, they call us up and we get them in the next day when they start feeling their pain. Some patients have been trying to deal with it a while. They've maybe tried some exercises they Googled or TikToked or whatever it might be, and they realize that is not the best outcome. They're not getting any better. So they need to come see us at MRS Physical Therapy to get the best professional advice for what they need to do. And some are chronic conditions where people have been dealing with things for years or even decades, either didn't realize that it was a kind of diagnosis like vertigo is the example we used earlier today, that didn't realize that we can help cure that and fix that vertigo at MRS Physical Therapy, or just kind of put it off to the side and, it wasn't bad enough and now it's become a chronic issue that they need to deal with and now they finally have to give us a call. But we're going to still get you in the next day for appointments. So, whatever it is, whether it's something acute or chronic, we'll get you in right away and take care of you quickly.
What would you tell somebody that says, well, I've had this, whatever this is, I've had this so long I'm used to it and I'm too old to turn it around?
Yeah. So I get that quite a bit where patients come in and they're like, this is something I figure I just have to live with. And it's typically like a low back pain kind of issues. Like, is this something I have to live the rest of my life with? Or, this is something I've just gotten used to. Or vertigo, another example, this is something I just, I would just get up slowly and take my time and try not to fall and, hold on to things. Yeah. And the answer is typically absolutely not. This is something we can fix and take care of. You will not have to be in pain the rest of your life. We're going to fix this low back pain so you're not in pain the rest of your life and teach you how to manage it yourself. We're going to fix your vertigo so you don't have to be dizzy every time you get up. This is not something you should just have to be getting used to and adjust to.
When somebody comes in lower back pain, how much of it involves being overweight? Such a horrible question.
That's pretty common, though. A lot of us are, not at our appropriate BMI levels of where we should be, and so when you're not at a good BMI level or being overweight, that puts a lot of stress and strain on your low back. Now, our goals aren't always going to be, we want to have realistic goals with our patients. Some of our patients, we know they're not going to lose, the 50 or 70 pounds that they really should need to lose, but we're going to teach them how to manage things through exercise, through flexibility, strengthening, a lot of core strengthening exercises to help stabilize their low back. So we're not expecting our patients to come in and to be put on a weight loss plan. We'll give advice, if you want to, talk about that, if that's something you're interested in, but a lot of times we're asking people to consult with a nutritionist and things like that, because that's really their expertise, not as much ours. But we do make it, if people want our advice on that, we'll make suggestions on avenues they can go down to helping to lose weight so they are less likely to have low back pain. But it's not necessary to lose all that weight to get out of low back pain.
You mentioned BMI, body mass index.
Yeah.
What's the best way, most accurate way to check for that? Way back in the day, I know they did. They dunked you in a pool.
Yeah, no, it's pretty simple. You just, it's your height and your weight, and there's a chart. Anybody can find the chart online. If you go to your doctor's office, that's all they're doing is they're taking your weight, they're taking your height, and that puts you on this BMI index. And there's some flexibility with that, as far as, where exactly you should be, but you should be in the general range that, is comfortable for you and your doctor for managing your overall health.
Is that the BMI? Is BMI index different than percentage of body fat targeting?
Yeah, BMI is different. When you're looking at body fat, you're actually using calipers to measure areas of body fat. What's that?
Pinchers.
Yeah, pinchers. Yeah. To measure that. And that's a different test that really hasn't done a whole lot, to be honest, but because BMI is much easier to get, and it gives you a general overall idea of your health.
Dale Reckless, MRS Physical Therapy, is with me. Read another.
Sure thing.
These are wonderful.
Yeah, so this is a good one. Kept up with how I felt and any issue, even by text. Sent me resources to check out for exercise tips, demonstrated exercises and therapy for me to try. So that one's good feedback because we have a text messaging system, and a lot of people have gotten used to that with businesses where they text you. But what ours is, it's private and it just goes to me. So say you had a therapy evaluation and you weren't sure how to do an exercise. You can text through our system saying, hey, Dale, I'm not sure how to do number 5, the hamstring stretch. Could you give me a little bit more? Or, and I did something over the weekend. I tweaked something. Should I still do my exercises? And I respond personally to all those text messages. So if you're a customer of MRS Physical Therapy, you have direct contact with me 24/7. So 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can text me and I will get back to you within a reasonable time frame. If you're having any issues, complaints, or concerns, and people love the text messaging system. And I don't know that I've met any other I've become aware of any other physical therapy clinic that uses the same text messaging system. But we do this because we want our patients to know that we care for them and that we can help them at any time that they need it. So they don't have to feel like they have to go through a weekend without knowing what to do, as an example of that.
Right.
So
I text you on a Friday. Most of the time I'm thinking, all right, well, this person's going to get back to me Monday morning when they see it.
Yeah.
That's not at all.
No, our patients are important to us. Our patients become like family to us. We want you to have that communication, that communicative things, those things that we do as an example. Those are really high points for our gold standard for why we are above and beyond many other physical therapy clinics.
An award-winning physical therapy.
Gold standing award-winning physical therapy clinic.
Absolutely. Which is more important to you now versus when you started 30-something, whatever you said, years ago? Building a clinic or the connection with the patients? Are you better at connecting with patients now than you were then?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. With experience comes that ability to connect better, to realize the value of communication, interaction. When you get out of physical therapy school, you've just spent, 6 years in a classroom being taught, learning book stuff, learning, if you put A plus B together, how to make that make sense for what you're trying to get outcome-wise for C. When you get experience as a physical therapist, that's why I think it's important and valuable. I've been a physical therapist for 35 years. My other physical therapist has been about 33 years. My PTAs have been, one's, I think, 30 years of experience. The other one's about 15 years of experience. That experience is not just the knowledge, but the interaction and communication with a patient to, every time they come in, you're communicating, how are you feeling today? Has anything changed? Learning the listening skills that comes with time, I think, is what really helps to build upon an experienced physical therapist and why your value is better with an experienced physical therapist. So
in short, you're talking about over a century of experience in the buildings.
Well over, probably, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a lot of time. It's actually making us feel old, Eddie.
When it comes to trusting medical professionals.
Absolutely.
I don't want Doogie Howser.
Yeah.
I want somebody that if I ask them a weird question, they've learned the skill set to answer it. That's the skill
and on the
set
other end, you
don't
want the guy that's close to retirement is kind of mailing it in. So, and that's kind of the point I mentioned earlier. We on a monthly basis we have what's called a journal club. All of the therapists meet and talk about a new topic and what's the most current research on it. So we keep up to date on a regular basis on that. We don't have anybody mailing it in. We're all on top of our game. Even though we're well experienced, we're keeping on top and using that experience to build upon and continue to give that the best experience for our patients.
You mentioned something, and I want to go back to it. You talked about it in the first segment, research and keeping up the speed and how important that is. You've been doing this, like you said, a long time. How much of what you were doing 35 years ago is right and has now been fine-tuned? And how much of 35 years ago was, oh, no, we don't do that anymore?
I would say about 60% we're continuing to do, and then there's about 40% that's different. But there's some areas that are majorly different, like vertigo. How we treat vertigo is majorly different. How we treat concussions is majorly different. There's some old school stuff that's kind of like the easier stuff that's still pretty simple and not much has changed with that. Maybe like the technology for like a hip replacement or knee replacement's changed, but how we have our patients recover, not a lot different, maybe a little bit different, not a lot. But things like vertigo and concussion, they're completely different. I mean, how I would have treated them in 1990, I would not do those same things now in 2025 at all. If I see someone getting treated like that, I know that that person's not kept up on the research because things have changed. So if I have a patient come to me with an experience somewhere else and they said, the therapist told me to do this, I can tell right away that they have not kept up on the research because they're just still using the old knowledge that they had versus keeping up on the newest, things that research has shown us and proven to be better for outcomes for our patients.
Read another review.
Sure.
I almost want to hurt myself to go and visit you at MRS because of these reviews and the award.
Quickly diagnosed and treated my vertigo. It was a complicated case and very scary when experienced the first time. Chris and Dale quickly calmed my fear and treated my issue. So again, we talked about vertigo, very good outcomes with that. We talked earlier about patients, being nervous and anxious and scared when they come to see us, but we quickly calm those fears. Here's another one. Took time with me, great cure, ease of scheduling got me better. Again, our scheduler is fantastic. You call her up and she's going to give you the appointment that you want. If you want next day, we're going to get you a next day. Not everybody wants next day. Maybe they want to start next week or they're going on vacation. So we have very easy scheduling for your first appointment, and then follow-up appointments. We do our best to give you the days of the week and the times of the day that work best for your schedule. So, and this is a good example. So we had patients that wanted more morning hours. So just recently, in the last 4 months, we started opening up at our Bridgewater office at 7 a.m. for those patients that wanted to earlier appointments. So we had patients that had interest in scheduling earlier. We listened and we adjusted our business for them. So we adjusted our business to give the best experience to our patients by opening now at 7 a.m. And our 7 a.m. slots have become really popular. That's an example of how we listen to our clients. As a business, we listen and we make adjustments accordingly to give our patients the best experience.
Why can't other PT do that? Why is it that you're capable of doing that, but many others aren't?
You'd have to ask them that question. I think to myself a lot, I don't know why everyone is not doing this. Here's an example. So we specialize a lot with Parkinson's patients. I had a patient come to me. They just moved to Pittsburgh from Florida. I don't know why, but no, I do know why. They want to be closer to family, but they lived in Florida for 25 years and had, all the specialty Parkinson's stuff down there. They came to Pittsburgh and they couldn't find anyone right away. They finally found us and they asked me, why isn't everyone treating Parkinson's like you guys do? I don't know why. Why isn't everyone doing vertigo? Why isn't everyone doing TMJ? Why isn't everyone doing facial nerve paralysis? I don't know why they're not, but we do. So that's another thing that stands out with us at MRS Physical Therapy. No matter what your age, we treat little babies with torticollis all the way up to 90, 100-year-olds. Whatever your age is, doesn't matter. You can come see us. Some other therapy clinics, they won't see the younger kids. They just see the adults or vice versa. If you have TMJ pain or some of these specialty areas, TMJ is an example, vertigo is an example. A lot of clinics don't treat that. We do.
Is TMJ the lockjaw?
That's your jaw.
Okay.
Yep. So you have pain with eating. You can't open up your mouth to get that bite out of that Primanti sandwich. Those kind of things. That's a TMJ issue. You get clicking or pain in your jaw. That's a TMJ issue. We specialize in that area. That's, I think what probably happens is we listen to our patients. Someone comes in and says, hey, can you treat this? And it becomes one of the things that we focus on. We research and we have it become part of our program. That happened to us with the facial nerve paralysis, patients with Bell's palsy, Ramsay-Hunt syndrome, facial nerve paralysis. There was a local therapist that he was the go-to guy, but he retired and there was no one else to pick up on that. So I said, well, we're going to start a program. So about 6 or 7 years ago, we started our facial nerve paralysis program for patients to come to for those issues. If there's an issue related to physical therapy, we're going to be able to take care of you. Lymphedema, another area. Not a lot of physical therapy clinics do lymphedema. That's when you have the swelling in your legs or your arm. Sometimes it's post-cancer, things like that, where you have lymph nodes removed or they're affected and you develop increased swelling. So we have a lymphedema program that we've had for a long time. It was there before I started at MRS Physical Therapy. So some of these programs are newer and some have been established for long periods of time, like the TMJ and the vertigo. We've had it for a long time, but not a lot of other therapy clinics do it. So it's just a matter of the patients knowing to come to see us at MRS Physical Therapy in Bridgewater or Cranberry for that care, because we're going to be able to treat whatever diagnosis, no matter how complicated it is. Like that last one, I read, some of these people come to us with very complicated cases, but we can take care of you no matter what your level of need is, whether it's acute or chronic. If you have, multiple joints that are going on with you, we're going to help take care of all those things for you.
Dale Reckless, MRS Physical Therapy. This is my last question. What's your favorite part of your job? Because everybody that excels at their job, award-winning, there is something about their job that they are passionate about that keeps them engaged. What's your favorite part?
So as a kid, I always loved puzzles.
Okay.
So my parents will tell you, I was that kid that would sit down for hours and do puzzles. I mean, my grandmother thought there was something wrong with me because I would just be sitting there for hours doing puzzles over and over and over again. And my grandmother asked my parents, we're a little concerned, he's just sitting there doing puzzles. I love puzzles. I love solving puzzles. I'm a problem solver. And you know what? This is funny because since you asked that question, I never put that together. This is the first time you guys are hearing this on air. This is the first time I ever put that together. My love for doing puzzles when I was a kid, how that transferred into me as an adult being a physical therapist. I love solving problem and puzzles. So to answer the question, I love the new evaluation that comes in. They have multiple issues going on, and I love figuring out, putting those puzzle pieces together and figuring out what the problem is and how I can help them.
All right, I take it back. One more question. How painful was it that Grandma wanted to have you tested? There's something wrong with the boy.
That's a true story. My parents are probably listening like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, I love, I'm a problem solver. And I think a lot of physical therapists at our clinic are like that. But I can take that back to me, being 5 or 6 years old, sitting on the floor when my grandmother was babysitting me. Like, I just love being a problem solver, figuring out puzzles.
And you're an award winner.
And we just were awarded the gold award for the best physical therapy practice in the community. That was printed out by the Cranberry Eagle. We're very proud of that. A couple more testimonials I'll read here.
Sure.
Each therapist that I worked with was very compassionate and caring. So I'm not boasting about myself. I'm boasting about the team. We have a fantastic team, and that's really my goal. I want to have the best team around of therapists. I know my abilities. I know what I can do, but I want to have everyone around me be the best that they can be, from our other PTs, our physical therapy assistants, to our front desk secretaries. They really give our patients the best experience. Extremely kind. They worked to relieve my leg and back pain and my balance. Also helped with my vertigo. Appreciated all of their help. So, no matter what it is, we've patients all the time that, they could be a train wreck. They come in with all these different body parts, their arms hanging off, their legs hanging off, they're dizzy. We love taking care of everything there. I felt well taken care of. And everyone gave me all the information and care I could ask for. And that's really a great compliment, that a patient feels well taken care of. They had a great patient experience with us. Like I read earlier, patients keep coming back. People come back 3, 4, 5, 6 times. That's something I should look at. Who's got the #1 award for most recurrent visits to MRS Physical Therapy? Because it's going to probably be up in the teens somewhere.
Search in the computer, who's the clumsiest?
So patients keep coming back to us because they have the great physical therapy experience by coming to MRS Physical Therapy. And remember, we have 2 offices. So we have the office in Bridgewater, which is MRS Physical Therapy, right in Bridgewater, right in the heart of Stone Point, right in Stone Point Landing. Mm-hmm. And that number is 724-728-7550. And then Cranberry Physical Therapy is on Route 19, right next to North Park Lounge in the heart of Cranberry Township. And that number is 724-591-8121. Or if you just want to email me, d.reckless@mrsphysicaltherapy.com. Like you said, I'm happy to answer any questions. Like you showed me a video that your wife's following through. I'm happy to answer any questions with that too.
Ex-wife.
Sorry, ex-wife.
This is being taped. We need to get that. Well, thank you for coming in, Mr. Award winner. Your
Thanks.
Whole team, congratulations. That's
Thanks,
huge.
my pleasure.
Dale Reckless, MRS Physical Therapy. Yeah, Christy, apparently the video won't break your leg. Go ahead and do it.
Beaver County Radio and the Pennsylvania Hot Rod Company, along with Falcone's Moon Township Ford, A.K. Nahas, and Dan Hoffman State Farm